Greetings, Victorians, and welcome to Update 1.5. With it arrives changes to warfare, economy, politics, narrative content, diplomacy, and more. First up, warfare. A wide range of functionality for both your armies and navies has been included in patch 1.5. Armies now have a physical presence on the map containing your units and generals. No longer are armies locked to the generals alone. Here, we can see line infantry, lancers, and cannons from the Sikh Empire, squaring off against irregular conscripts in eastern Afghanistan. Many new options are available for managing your military. Armies can now be stationed in specific states. I think here we will redeploy Alexander Gardiner's 30 regiments to the front lines. Your formation's readiness to fight is now represented by both their morale and organization. Command limit is now an aggregate of all generals in an army. Recruiting additional generals may sometimes be more advantageous to you than promoting an existing one. An array of mobilization orders are now selectable to give your military a fighting edge. Select extra rations for a morale boost. Perhaps a bit of chocolate is in order. Or opium. You can now customize your formations as well by clicking this button here. Unit veterancy has been added, and units will slowly gain experience over time. A professional standing army will now perform better in the field than those hastily raised conscripts. No longer is a single front line tied to a single battle. Multiple battles can form along the length of your front. Additionally, retreat in pursuit conditions have been added to help swiftly end battles when the outcome has already been decided in the field. And don't forget to upgrade your military units. Clicking this button here will upgrade the selected regiments. If you find yourself in a situation where the goods upkeep for a formation is just too expensive, clicking this button here will allow you to select exactly which type of units you are using, even if it's a downgrade. Be careful doing this in times of war, because your military organization will take a hit. Politics. Interest groups around the world have been given unique traits representing historical characteristics of those groups. Here, we can see the new traits for the British petite bourgeoisie, and here, for the Qing armed forces. Certain laws can now shift the attraction of POPs to different interest groups. Here we can see that enacting the homesteading land reform will attract more middle strata POPs from rural buildings to join the petite bourgeoisie. Speaking of laws, you now have a new colonization option to choose from. Frontier colonization gives you the ability to colonize only border territory. Several nations start with this law passed, including the United States and Japan. Several formidable nations have been added to the game, including Rio de la Plata, the Holy Roman Empire, the Confederation of the Rhine, and Romania. That is one beautiful big blue blob. Narrative content. There has been a host of free improvements to existing journal entries, and several new journal entries included in patch 1.5. Keep an eye out for those Romanovs and the Red Scare. Diplomatic plays have seen a slight change. Now, when making a single demand, there is a chance the opposing nation will back down. Here, we see there's a 17% chance Borgu will cede a single state to Sokoto, rather than risk losing in a war. But clicking here will forgo the offer if war is your goal. Trading states is now an option, and is often a compelling reason to join a war. But fear not, long chili isn't real. Long chili cannot hurt you. Establishing colonial administrations has been added to your journal entries, which allows you to set up and expand custom colonial nations in Africa. And of course, this is fully moddable. Reverse swaying is now an option during diplomatic plays, giving you the option to support either side for a desired outcome. The economic layer of the game has seen numerous changes, so let's give this a quick once-over. Once researched, you now have the ability to found companies that specialize in specific types of production. Here, we can see Romania's 2 unlocked companies. The Combine, the Romanian Textile Syndicate, is doing fairly well, having enough prosperity to unlock a bonus. But the United Wallachia fabric producers are operating below the global average, so we need to whip them into shape. Up at the top here, we can see several additional bonuses, and these numbers scale based on your prestige. Several production buildings have been split, giving you more fine-tuned control over your production. These new buildings include vineyards, explosive factories, military shipyards, and artillery foundries. Buildings now attempt to hire new workers on a weekly basis. If a building fails to hire new workers, it will not try again for a month. This is a performance improvement to avoid every building constantly trying and failing to hire new workers. But if wages increase in a building, the cooldown will reset. And now for a very major change. Every state now has local prices for all goods and services. Services, transportation, and electricity are now local only, so no more shipping cargo containers of D-cell batteries across the world. MAPI, or Market Access Price Impact, is a new modifier to keep an eye on, as it affects your local prices. Low MAPI means it's difficult to move goods around your country, thus increasing local prices outside the states the good is produced in. So here we can see it would be very beneficial to build our steel mills in the same state where we produce our iron and coal. Low local prices for the input goods will help keep the steel mill profitable. And here, it's a good idea to keep our textile production close to a large population center, so our lower strata populations have access to cheap clothes. Job satisfaction is another new modifier to keep an eye on. It is simply a measure of how happy a pop is in their current job. High satisfaction means they are less likely to seek new employment. Pollution now has a mechanical effect in the game. High pollution equals high mortality. But you can balance this out with several changes to the healthcare laws. And many buildings and production methods have undergone simple balancing changes. So check out the full patch notes for all the nitty-gritty details. We'll make sure that's linked below. We've also added several new achievements to the game, including one about Rome. Real sorry about what we did to Byzantium EU4 players. We're really sorry. And finally, Peru-Bolivia has undergone a rework, alongside new migration events for South America to simulate historical, large-scale population movements to the area, as well as new cultures to go along with them. Update 1.5 releases tomorrow alongside Colossus of the South, so we shall bid you adieu. Until next time, Victorians.